Hey everyone, Big Pauly back with a brand new video. Yeah, back to talk about a few films that I've seen recently. First of all, we're going to be talking about The First Slam Dunk, which is a basketball film, animated, which was recently sent to me from the lovely guys over at Fetch Publicity to check out for you. So let's watch this and I'll talk a little bit about it in a minute. Okay, so The First Slam Dunk. This originally came out in 2022 and it's been distributed by alltheanime.com or anime .limited. This is a film about basketball, but a little bit more. It's about family as well. Now, I'm really not into basketball. I've never played it, not even when I was at school, but I can understand kind of like partially the moves. I don't know the rules or anything like that, but I understand the techniques and what they have to do to score and the kind of scoring system that they use. So this film is about a young kid called Ryota Miyagi, who's following in his deceased brother's footsteps to try and make it into basketball and pursue a dream that his brother had. Never got the chance to kind of like do any championships or anything like that. And we follow Ryota as he goes through school, he gets older, he goes to college, and he plays against an opposing college basketball team. Now, the thing about this, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. You know, a film about basketball that you don't follow, you not have no interest in. The animation in this was really good. Now, my knowledge of anime is basically Studio Ghibli. And this had a different look to it. I like the technique that they used. It was a combination of like 2D and 3D CGI for the basketball scenes. And you can definitely tell panning shots from above, it had that 3D all around kind of effect. It can be a little bit of an emotional film every now and again. When you're looking into the relationship between Ryota and his mum, who've got a very strange relationship since, you know, he lost his brother. And at times they feel a bit like a broken family. Now, the film plays out with this big kind of like end of season type of championship at this college between these two opposing teams. And every now and again, we kind of get a little bit of a throwback, kind of like a flashback to when Ryota was learning basketball and what he had to go through playing basketball with his brother, getting bullied, and just general growing up and trying to fit in with school. So I like the family element of this, the relationship, especially between Ryota and his mum. As I say, they had a very, very strange relationship. And there are some emotional scenes where nothing is needed. There's no music, there's no dialogue, and it's just animation. And you kind of like be with them and understand what they're going through. And it kind of, yeah, it's a little bit emotional at times. When Ryota plays the big basketball match, like the last half of the film, it gets a bit fast paced. We get lots of antics on the basketball pitch, you know, on the court. And we get interactions with all these other basketball players. We get to know a bit about them. They throw in a few little flashbacks for other players as well. And we get to see them gelling as well as the other team as well. So it's nice to see all these other characters rather than just focusing on just the one player. And I got to admit, like the last 15 minutes, it was kind of like getting a little bit edge of the seat because as the points were building up, you know, the time was coming down and were they actually going to win or were they going to be runners-up? So it was a little bit fast-paced, you know, towards the end. And it was really nice to see this film out until the end. There was actually kind of an after-credit scene as well. It only lasted a couple of seconds, but yeah, it's a nice little thing to throw in there that complements the story. So yeah, this is the first slam dunk. This is a limited edition that was sent over for me to review. I did do an unboxing, which I will link down in the description, but it does come with the Blu-ray. It comes with the 4K as well. And it also comes with like a sticker sheet of all the players' tops there, which is pretty cool. We also get an art card there. Plus, we also get a poster there as well, and a nice book, a nice thick book there, all about the story and concept art and posters and things like that. So that's pretty cool. And then you get the backing sheet as well. There's some good special features on this as well, including like trailers and teasers, interview with the director. You get the behind the starting line, English dub feature, colour commentary with the English dub team. And that's the thing. It had Dolby Atmos, but it had two soundtracks. It had a Japanese soundtrack in Dolby Atmos, and it had an English dub soundtrack in Dolby Atmos. I watched the English sub. I never have a problem watching animated films with the dub. I do the same with the Studio Ghiblis. I watch the English dub because they are so good. And again, in this film, the English dub was really good. And you would never know otherwise. Yeah, so it also had Dolby Vision as well, which really looked good. And although most of the action is in like a basketball court, outside as well as inside, we do get the occasional shots of houses in Japan, and also like rolling fields and things like that. Now, as an added extra, I was sent over this really nice accompanying book, which was sent to the cinemas and also for press screenings. And it just, and a little compliment to give you an insight into the actual film itself and the characters. What I liked about this is that it lists all of the players that were on each of the teams, tells you about them. So we have Shihoku High School there, which is where Ryota was, and then more players on there, and then we go over, and then we have Sano High School as well, which were the team that they were playing against, and it tells you all about the characters in there, which is really cool. It also has the Miyagi family in there. That's the brother that passed away, and I love the relationship between these two, even though it never really lasted because he died so young. And you get the mum down there, and there's a younger sister as well. And then we got a bit about an interview there, and other various bits. So that was a nice little accompaniment that you can read up about the actual characters and how they gelled, you know, with the actual film. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I never thought I was actually going to enjoy it that much. You know, I have no interest in basketball. I have no interest in any sport. You know that. Other than boxing, I do like boxing. So yeah, there we go. That is the first slam dunk. I would definitely recommend you give that one a go. You don't, like I say, you don't have to be heavy into basketball. If you've got a basic knowledge of basketball, then that's good enough. But the thrills on the actual court and the relationship between the family and the players propel this film above more than just a basketball film. There we go. That is the first slam dunk. Next up, we have a streaming film that me and Papa Bowman decided to just plunk on. Yes, Armoured, or Armour. I think he's got a few different titles. And this, I thought, okay, this is going to be good. It's got Stallone in it. Boy, was I wrong. Flipping heck. It is about Jason Patrick and his son, who are both officers who transport money in one of these armoured vehicles from bank to bank. And they get stopped on a bridge, right in the middle of a bridge, and they get approached by this gang, all dressed in black with machine guns and headed by Stallone. And basically they're going to rob it. That's it. That is the entire film. But there's nothing exciting about the film. Most of the time it is about Jason Patric and this other guy inside this van talking about their relationship, talking about drinking and not being an alcoholic, and talking about family, while the guys on the bridge just squabble between themselves and Stallone just stands there bone idle doing nothing. And he doesn't bring anything to this film. Now, I can understand why they jumped at the chance to get Stallone in a film. I think they paid him $3 million for one day's work, which is not bad if you can get it. But his character had no purpose whatsoever. They just had no structure of how they were going to get this money, how they were going to get off the bridge, and there was no police anywhere. Being an armoured truck, surely it would send out a signal that it hasn't arrived at a depot. I don't know. But it was just drivel. And a few of them get too trigger happy later on. And Stallone just walks off into the distance. I don't get it. There's no excitement in it whatsoever. I think that phased out after about 15 minutes. The effects are pretty bad. There's a really bad, like, CGI gun muzzle, you know, sparks and flames that are coming out of the end of a gun. I don't know what you call it. So they obviously didn't have real guns. They were probably made of plastic. And then one of the worst cases of CGI water I think I've ever seen in a film. When the van goes off the edge of the bridge into the river and they have to swim out. They have to swim out through the top of it or through the side of it. And you can see Jason Patric climbing out of it while it's underwater. Why not just float? And you can see him putting motion into climbing out and pushing himself up while it's underwater. It's just awful. Absolutely awful. I think this has even got a Blu-ray release or a 4K release in America. God help us. I wouldn't even bother. Yeah, so it was an absolute pile of cack. So definitely avoid Armour or Armoured or pay Stallone $3 million for a measly day's work, whatever you want to call it. Absolute pile of crap. Okay, so next up is Black Cab with Nick Frost. This is a Shudder original. Yeah, it was okay. I think it's probably a one-time watch, though. Nick Frost plays this black cab driver. I liked his performance. It was very different from the usual Nick Frost, you know, Shaun of the Dead comedy type of stuff that he plays. He played a really dark, twisted, evil taxi driver that was kidnapping people. And the main premise around this story is there's a couple of friends that are having some meal or drinks in this nightclub restaurant, and two of them take a ride in the black cab to go home, but they get locked in, and he tasers the bloke, and he spends most of the film unconscious in the cab floor. And he ties them up. And it all has to do with this woman being pregnant. And he's taking her to a certain part of a road out in the middle of nowhere where there's this ghost and they're going to exchange babies. Exchange babies with a ghost. That's a new one. Yeah. It was okay. It was mainly all set in the back of a black cab, and there wasn't a huge amount of tension. There's no scares really. I mean, this ghostly figure appears every now and again, but it's no jump scares. And I've seen I've seen it done better before. Um, but as a performance for Nick Frost, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay as this performance. It's just it was missing that scare factor and missing that suspense, because not much happened in the back of the cab. It was just talking about his wife, or his his ex-wife and his kid, and talking about how she should be a good mum. And yeah, but he wasn't a nice character, but I suppose that shows how versatile an actor can be, because if they can take something that they're not used to showing and the audience don't like it, then it shows that, they're doing a good job as an actor. I got to say, though, this must have been filmed a little while ago, because Nick Frost is at his usual weight that he's been in other films. Whereas now, in reality, I think he's lost 6 stone. Flipping hell, I need his secret. And apparently he lost 6 stone in 6 months. That's a stone a month. I think the most I ever managed was half a stone a month with Weight Watchers. So he must have really been focused. And it's because he's become a father. So he wanted to be more healthy for his kids. So props to him for that. But I just need his secret. Maybe, Paul, if you stop eating fish and chips and Chinese and burgers, you'll get it. Anyway, yeah, that was Black Cab. It was okay, but I think it's a one-time watch, really. It was just missing all that scare factor and suspense for me. Yeah, there we go. That's Black Cab. Okay, so next up we have a film that, if it had been made in the 1930s or 1940s, it would have starred George Formby. That's right, it's Cleaner, a film about a window cleaner. But it's a little bit more than that. This film is directed by Martin Campbell, the director of the greatest James Bond film ever made. Yeah, there'll probably be a few comments. No, that's not the greatest James Bond film. Well, for me it is. And this stars, of course, the lovely Daisy Ridley. It's a shame this film didn't get a cinema release, a limited cinema release, because I think it would look good on the big screen, especially with the explosions and everything that you get. So this film stars Daisy Ridley as a character called Joey Locke, and she's ex-army. She got kicked out of the army, and she's a window cleaner in a big tall building in London. She also has a brother with autism called Michael, who, running late for work one day, she has to take him to work. He unfortunately got kicked out of a lot of care homes due to hacking into computers and things like that. Now, Joey works for this company that deals with all like green re-energy and all that kind of stuff, and reusable energy. So the company has some secrets. And one evening they're holding a big gala dinner on one of the higher floors. An environmentalist, Clive Owen, and a load of cronies basically take everybody hostage. So it's then up to Joey, using her army skills, to kick some bad guy arse, basically. Now, this film is kind of like Die Hard. We got a tall building, we got hostages, we got a lone hero running around shooting people and explosions. So very similar parallels to Die Hard. Is it as good as Die Hard? It's better. I thought how'd you go in there? No, it's not as good as Die Hard, but I still really enjoyed it. I still had a lot of fun with it. It was an hour and 37 minutes, and I like Daisy Ridley as a kick-ass hero. It's a side to her that we don't really see. I know, you know, she did a lot of action in the Star Wars films, but everything other than that has kind of like been, you know, drama and that kind of thing. So to have her as a, you know, an action hero and throwing out the swear words left, right, and centre, killing people, shooting them, getting into John Wick fisticuffs with a lot of the bad guys. It's something a little bit different. So I like the relationship between Joey and Michael, and the reason why she's like an overprotective sister, and that she feels that she's let him down by, you know, leaving him in these homes over the years. And it all goes back to when they were kids and they had troubled parents and trying to escape, you know, some domestic abuse at home. So she feels like a mother to him, or a, you know, a big sister. Now, the only thing that's a little bit misleading about the film, going by the trailer, this makes the film look like, you know, Clive Owen is the Alan Rickman. That is so far from the truth. In fact, I did not believe how little screen time Clive Owen had. And I think that's kind of like to throw you off, to kind of like a shocker. So I would have liked to have seen Clive Owen do a lot more in the film, but I was still okay with Villain and how things turned out. It's kind of like removing Hans Gruber and replacing him with Carl for the film. That's kind of what happened. But yeah, an hour and 37 minutes. It didn't drag. I liked all of the action, and like I say, Daisy kicked ass. And I kind of feel this could actually work as kind of a franchise, because I could just see her maybe going on holiday or coming back from a holiday and then getting involved in some hijackers on a plane, or maybe on a cruise ship. So whether or not we'll ever see the character of Joey again, but I think it could work for a couple of films, at least another film. Of course, I'm also really looking forward to Daisy's next film, We Bury the Dead, which is a zombie film. So it's great to see her like breaking out of just doing family dramas and that kind of stuff, and just getting into the action, getting into the zombie stuff, and just kicking a bit of arse. Anyway, there we go. So if you like your Die Hard, if you like your actioners, if you like Daisy and want to see a different side to her, kicking ass, swearing like a trooper, getting beaten up, and just balls out, then give Cleaner a go. You can watch it on Sky Cinema. It's on there now, so yeah, give it a try. Okay, next up is Conclave, starring Ralph Fiennes. I thought now's the time to actually watch this, because this is kind of like reality now, what with Pope Francis recently dying. So I wanted to put myself into the position of what would be going on and what the steps are to actually, you know, get a new Pope. And I gotta say, this was a really good film. The film's 2 hours long. It doesn't drag in any way. Some great performances, especially from Ralph Fiennes, who plays Cardinal Lawrence, whose task it is to put everything in motion and get all the other cardinals together, lock them in a room and do the voting, to come up with the next pope. We also have Stanley Tucci as well as John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini. I always have to say it like that. Yes, and I thought it was a really good film. Some good tense moments. There's some shadowy moments. Obviously, you know, there's some cardinals squabbling over who's worthy and who's not worthy. There's a bit of digging up of dark secrets from the past, like you get in anything these days, including the presidency. And it's ultimately about who's the best man for the job. Ralph Fiennes' character, Cardinal Lawrence, he's in the running to possibly be Pope, but he doesn't really want to do it. He's kind of like lost his journey, lost his direction, lost his prayer. And a few of the other cardinals who may have had a chance of becoming the new Pope, some of their, you know, dark secrets were stirred up. But overall, yeah, really enjoyed it. For a film that's basically a drama and lots of dialogue, there's no spaceships, there's no explosions. Wow. There's no spaceships. And it's just a down-to-earth kind of true depiction of what has to happen next in order for a new pope to arrive. You know, with the old smoke and everything. And it was great seeing a little insight into what happens inside Vatican City and how they're locked in and the voting system and everything like that. I gotta say though, it looked beautiful. You know, the costumes looked authentic. They looked so bright with the reds, and the inside of like the Vatican City looked really good. It looked so good, in fact, that I'm sure I'd seen it before. Yes, I had. I was like, hang on a minute. I'm sure there was a couple of rebel soldiers running across there, and Anakin jumping in his starfighter. And it was filmed. The Vatican scenes were actually filmed in Caserta Palace in Italy, exactly where the Phantom Menace was filmed. So yeah, it looks so familiar, especially with those big that big window on the edge there. But yes, Conclave, really good. Enjoyed it. So if you'd like a little bit of insight of what goes on when picking a new pope, then definitely give Conclave a go, because yeah, a good 2-hour drama. Very good. Okay, so the last film that I'm going to talk about in this little review section is called Bad Grandpa, and this is from Jackass. Basically, Jackass Presents, starring Johnny Knoxville. Now, I'm a massive fan of Jackass, going right back to the series, right back to the beginning, and also the films that came out. I have several of them in the collection as well. And this came out in 2013, and for some unknown reason, like everything else that's on the shelf, it's been unwatched. And I do like this steelbook. This is a really nice steelbook with lots of embossing. This is one of those entertainment stores that they released. Do you remember those limited entertainment store ones? Limited to 1,000 units. Yeah, so it's a shame that they don't do them anymore. I think they did a numbered World War Z one as well. They used to put like the number down the bottom there, which I do have. Anyway, getting back to the film, getting off topic. So what this film is about Johnny Knoxville, who's got this fantastic makeup to make him look like an old man. His wife has just recently died, and he has to take his grandson, whose mum is going into prison. So he has to take his grandson on a road trip across country to his dad. Basically, the kid's dad is a druggie, and the only reason he agrees to look after him is so that he can get like $600, like, you know, money for looking after him. And it's just a load of antics along the way. So it is a Jackass road trip. Now, the difference between Jackass and this is, in Jackass, you've got staged stunts amongst all of the Jackass crew, whereas this is actually a film, but it has kind of like staged sections throughout the story itself, but it uses the real public, so they don't know what's going on, and only a few people know. So obviously Johnny Knoxville and the kid know, and maybe one or two people. So it's just about doing a lot of mayhem on the road and shocking people. There are some really laugh out loud moments in this. Some really hilarious moments. There was a scene with a bed where Johnny Knoxville's character, granddad or grandpa, was selling off everything in his family home, and there's this bed and he just lays down on it, and it just keeps folding on him and just crunching him. And it's so hilarious just watching all these people around him. Another hilarious one is Grandpa has a thing for the dark lady. Yes, so he goes to like a strippers club and basically gets his ball bags out. But I've got to say, the one that really got me, I actually had to pause the film. I had to pause the film for about 10 minutes because I just could not continue. It's the restaurant scene. Talk about splatter on the wall. Oh my God, I didn't know that was going to happen. They were having a little farting contest in this restaurant. And he just shits all over the wall. So that's the type of antics that you get in this. But I do like the story of these two on the road. That's what it is. It's a road trip done Jackass style, and especially this kid is hilarious. It's about having a laugh, not taking life too seriously, and it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And towards the end of the film, they do kind of a reel as the credits are going up, showing the real people that the cameras are there and telling them that they're making a movie. So, oh God, I couldn't have imagined being in a situation like that. But yeah, I thought it was a really good film, really funny. And if you're a fan of Jackass and you like road trips, then yeah, you definitely like this. It is a total belly laugh. So there we go. Jackass goes on a road trip with Bad Grandpa. Fantastic. So there we go. So that is it for now. I hope you did enjoy this video. I will be doing more review series like this as well. I'm not going to wait too long, like a month or two before doing them, but I'm going to gather up like 5 or 6 films that I've seen. Then I'll just throw the video out because it saves them waiting so long to find out if I like the films. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share, and I'll see you on the next video very soon. Bye bye.